So all week long, we here at Channel 4 are talking about ways to get your kids ready for back to school. But what about after school? What about babysitting safety? When is it okay for them to stay home alone? And the answer is never. Or when are they the right age to watch a younger brother or sister? Joining us now with 4 things moms and dads need to know about kids' safety is Amber Bierfriend from the American Red Cross. Hey, good to have you here.
Good to be here.
You know, a couple of years ago, I did a story at one of the babysitting classes, and it struck me. It used to be that people would, just get a neighbor kid to come in and watch your children. But really, hiring a babysitter has become much more complex these days. They need to be ready to handle emergency situations.
Well, they really do, and that's where the babysitting class comes in handy, whether you're watching your younger siblings or whether you're watching neighborhood kids or you decide to make a little business out of it. It's really important to know things like first aid, identify emergencies that can happen, and be able to respond to them.
Now, let's talk about 4 things that every mom and dad needs to know and needs to teach the people that are going to be babysitting their children. They should pretty much let them know, okay, you can go to these neighbors should something happen.
Sure. Identify a neighbor, whether it's your own family that's doing the babysitting or a different one. Identify a neighbor. Make sure that they know who they are, and make sure that they're comfortable going over to their house in case something happens.
You also suggest keeping the child who's being babysat in the loop as well, and of course their brothers and sisters if they're going to be babysitting, and kind of do a run-through. Should an emergency happen, this is what you need to do.
Right. Well, obviously, whenever kids are home alone, they lock all the doors and windows, but in case of things like fires, they need to know how to get out and what to do once they get out. So it's important to write those plans down, go through them with your children, and make sure you have all contact numbers.
Also have to admonish the kids a little bit because they're prone to sitting there on Facebook and going, hey, guess what? Mom and Dad aren't here. That's a big no-no.
Yeah, well, it's a new technology. We haven't really had to deal with it much in the past, but more and more people posting things on Facebook and posting things on chat rooms and letting everybody know, their status, where they're at, if they're home alone. So it's pretty important now to look out for stuff like that.
Okay to have friends over or not?
I would go with no. You can have friends over if it's already pre-planned with your parents, but in general, having friends over is probably not such a good idea.
What do you think the biggest mistake is that parents make when it comes to bringing somebody into the house as a babysitter?
Well, parents really need to do their research and really need to have confidence in the person that they're hiring and get to know them before they make that decision.
So do you suggest that perhaps they interview somebody?
Yes, definitely, of course.
And how old does a child need to be to watch another child? I've got brothers or sisters.
Right.
At what age do you think that they're responsible enough to care for their younger siblings?
Well, there's no magic age, but it's really up to the discretion of the parents, and it depends on the child's maturity level and whether or not they're comfortable being home by themselves or watching other kids.
Now, you mentioned that babysitting class. What are some of the skills that, the kids out there who want to be professional babysitters learn?
They learn first aid, and they learn how to take command and leadership of small children, which sometimes is hard for kids to do. They also learn how to assess a situation and make sure that emergency situations don't happen. If there's a dangerous situation, to kind of take care of it before it happens.
And do parents also need to listen to their kids if the kids come up and say, hey, Mom, so-and-so was sitting there watching TV the whole time or what have you, and then take action?
Yeah, and it's important for your kids to enjoy the person that's watching them, too. That's not a good situation when the kids don't like the person that's watching them.
All right, so we've put all these suggestions on newsforjax.com so that you are armed and ready to go ahead and, hire a babysitter to watch your children. That's newsforjax.com. You can also find out more about the American Red Cross's Babysitter Training Course. They offer video activities, hands-on skills training for kids age 11 to 15.